So now we have our pants front, our shield, and the interfacing to go over where the flap for the decorative stitching is going to be. We need one more piece of interfacing that's just going to be a strip to put on the opposite side of the big flap. I call it the little flap. So we're just going to get our interfacing, and we're just going to cut a strip the length of the center front, including the seam allowance. So we're just going to do that, measure that. So that is 20 centimeters. Okay, so you see it from here up to there. So 20 centimeters. I am just going to do this. Measure from here up to there. There's the 20. And it's just like a strip. Just straight, about 3 centimeters wide. That's about it. So 3 centimeters, give or take. And now we're ready for step 1, which is step 1. Step 1, you're going to fuse both sides of the pants, both sides of the center front, where this big flap is going to be, which is where that's going to get turned and the decorative stitching is going to go, and this little flap where the zipper is going to get placed. So the zipper would get placed face down on this side. Now, before you decide which side the decorative stitching is going to go on, I would recommend putting it in front of you. And if it's for a woman, you're going to have the big flap on the right hand side. If it's for a man, you're going to have the big flap on the left hand side. Remember, women are always right over left. Men are left over right. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to press the interfacing. We're going to fuse the wrong side of these seams. So that's the first thing we're going to do. Then we're going to trim off the excess on the side that the little flap is on. So this is the big flap, this is the little flap. Big flap goes on the dominant side, which is the right over left for women, left over right for men. Little flap goes on the opposite side. So let's remove our pins now. It's all been clipped, it's marked, it's good to go. Now I'm going to figure out which is the right side and which is the wrong side. So the right sides are usually facing in. You have the mark over here on the wrong side, that dot. So this is the wrong side. Wrong side. Then I'm going to mark which is the right and which is the left. Okay, so that's the right and that's the left. So now I'm making this for a woman. I'm going to place the interfacing on the wrong side, which is wrong side of the center front, and it's just going to go like this, just like that. On the left side for a woman, on the wrong side, I'm going to place the interfacing like so, just to straddle it. Just to straddle that center front. So there's my center front line, because there's the clippy. Oh, where'd it go? There is the clippy here. There is the dot. It's the nubbly side down. Remember that. That's very important to remember that. Nubbly side down. So I'm straddling that center front line. And now I'm going to press. To press, you need to have a damp pressing cloth. Okay, it has to be damp, not dripping wet, Wring it out very well, but it has to be damp to activate the glue. Otherwise, you run the risk of it coming apart. I'm also going to remove the pattern from the shield and putting it aside. Now remember, nubbly side down, so you feel it. Don't trust your eyes, you feel it. So this side is the nubbly side. I'm going to flip it over and turn it down, and that way I won't get it stuck to my iron nor the pressing cloth. So here we have our separate pieces. So this one here is the front with the big flap. Take the damp pressing cloth and put it over, and then in just an up and down motion. You don't want to be doing this. With interfacing, you never want to be doing this, okay? So an up and down motion. Okay, now I'm going to flip it over. There we go. And that's nice and dry, and that is very securely fused. So now I'm going to continue on with the rest of them. So this again, this has the clip over there, the dot over there, nubbly side is down. I'm going to find another damp spot, because you don't want to be using the spot that's dry. So another damp spot, and again, up and down motion. Flip it over. And dry it up. There we go. And now the last piece, which is the shield, so that the whole thing is interfaced. So the whole thing gets fused. Let's find another damp spot on the pressing cloth. Now broadcloth works for this. This happens to be a piece of an old sheet. That works too, like a nice cotton. If you have white, that would be good, especially for anything that you run the risk of transferring dyes. I wouldn't use a dark fabric for this task, for that express purpose that you don't know if the dye will transfer. So there we go. Okay. So we have both sides fused. Okay, so this is the right side, this is the left side. Now, as it shows in step 1, you are going to machine stitch. You're going to, pardon me, machine baste down this line here. So you're going to machine baste to here, about 1 centimeter above that dot. And you're going to leave a few stitches there. Then from the dot down, you're just going to stitch. You don't need to go out all the way. In fact, you could stop right there. So you're going to baste down here. Machine baste from the top to there. That dot that we marked is down here, and you've clipped to it, so you know enough to stop there. Over here you're going to back tack and then stitch and just stop there. You don't need to back tack there. Just leave a little gap. So leave, I said 1 centimeter, but about half a centimeter will do. So leave a little gap. That way you'll know when you're done where to undo the basting. Okay, so baste, stop, do not back tack, start again, back tack, and just stop here. Okay, so I machine basted just down to here. And you see there's a little gap over there. And then I back tacked and continued on. Let me show you on the other side. So there's that little gap. There's the basting. There's the back tack. Basting, gap, back tack, and just a stitch. That's all you need to do. Now we're going to go to the iron and we're going to press them open, just like that. We're going to press that open as best we can. Okay, as I said, we're going to press this open. Watch that there isn't any interfacing to get on your iron. Just be careful, be cognizant of that. So here we go. That's all pressed. And now this little portion right over here, just try to press it as best you can without creasing it. Just the tip of the iron I find really works well. So this is the front of the pants. And that's exactly what it's going to look like once it's finished. That will have no bulk at all. While I'm here, I'm going to take and I'm going to press the shield folded. So I'm going to fold it in half and just press it folded. That way it's ready to use. There, that's ready to go. So at this point, we're ready to go on to step 2, which is adding the zipper to the little flap. Now, I haven't cut the flaps yet, but I'm about to. So I have here the fully interfaced side, that stays as it is. The one with a little strip gets trimmed off to avoid confusion. So that gets trimmed off. Leave about 2 centimeters there. You'll want to have about 2 centimeters seam allowance. There. We've got the flaps identified. The big flap, the little flap. On the little flap, you're going to place the zipper face down, facing the fabric. So the slider is on this side, is underneath. And you're going to place it so that the teeth are 2 to 3 millimeters away from the seam. Okay? 2 to 3 millimeters away. So let's just highlight that for you. So this is the seam right there. These are the teeth. So there is your seam here. I want it to be over here, 2 to 3 millimeters away. The zipper tape ordinarily would be longer, but because I've used this before, it's been cut off. The slider would go at underneath the seam, the waist allowance. So it would go to about there, the slider. Okay, so I'm going to, the zipper's closed, and I'm putting it with the teeth on the small flap and about 2 to 3 millimeters away from the seam. Then I'm going to take and make sure that I only grab the seam allowance, and I'm going to have to change to a zipper foot. Now, zipper feet come in many different incarnations. For this particular machine, which is a Juki, and it's an industrial one, it comes with a right toe and a left toe. So by that I mean, you see where the needle goes? This one, the needle stays on the left, the foot stays on the right. With this one, the needle stays on the right and the foot stays on the left. This is for a domestic machine. I would use this one, but it won't fit. And this one here, this is the old-fashioned kind that you put on, and then you can slide the foot back and forth. So it slides. That way you can get it on the right side or the left side of the needle without removing it, which is really great. It's fantastic. These are, they're quite inexpensive, but they're my favorite zipper feet because you can get right close to the teeth with this one here because it's very narrow. The ones that come with the machines now, I find they're too big and bulky, and when you get to the slider, it has a tendency to go wobbly. So now that the zipper has been placed, now look, I'm not pinning anything. You don't need to pin. I'm just going to take it and now I put the left toe on my machine. So in other words, if you have one of the domestic ones, you would have the zipper foot on the left hand side of the needle. So now I'm going to put 2 rows of stitching, but before I do that, I just want to make sure that the teeth are the right distance away from the seam, and it looks like they are. So just roll the zipper tape over, double check, you're good to go. So you're going to do 1 row of stitching close to the teeth. You're going to back tack. And you're going to back tack at the bottom. And then you're going to put another row to hold that zipper tape down at the end. Okay. Now I just want to see just the one side. I don't want you to flip the zipper over like this to see all of the teeth. You have to just flip over the tape and just make sure that this one side of the zipper teeth is about 2 to 3 millimeters away from the seam. That was step 2. Add the zipper. Now we're going to go on to step 3. You can actually do step 2 all over again and get ready for step 3. Step 3. Stitch little flap securely to the zipper. Basically what I'm trying to say is you're going to take just the seam allowance and you're going to put your stitching over top, which is when you open the fly, you will see that stitching will be visible. So if you're doing a contrasting thread, that's what you would use on here. Okay, so now we're going to take, and remember, you're only getting the seam allowance. Make sure that you do not get the fabric in there. So the fabric has to be left free. It should not be caught. It should not be caught over there. It has to be left completely free. And then you're going to do a row of stitching close to the teeth. Now for this one here, you can turn it upside down and use the same foot, or you can, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can put the foot to the right side and stitch from the top down. Back tack. There we go. Now, at this point, if you like, you can actually serge the edges. On a real pair of pants, I would serge this part of the shield, and this part over here, I would serge that at this point. That was step 3. Now we're going to go on to step 4. Step 4. Add the fly or the shield. So we're going to position it with the folded side out, and we're going to position it so that the waistbands match, and it's nice and even over here, making sure that on this side you have a nice seam allowance. Okay? So now you can just go right over that stitching. You can see that this zipper is not going anywhere. You could do this all in one step. Once you get the hang of it, then you can do this all in one step. Step 3 and 4 can be combined, but until then, do them separately. So this is step 4. Now this is going to be a nice, well-hidden zipper. So step 5. You're going to stitch zipper to the big flap securely. So this is the big flap. You're going to do 2 rows of stitching on the big flap, but open. Do not catch the fabric underneath. Move the shield out of the way. 2 rows. Make sure that it's nice and secure and nice and taut. Don't have any bunching or anything. And go ahead and stitch. So it's going to look like this. So you're going to take the zipper, you're going to pull it nice and taut, you're going to pull the flap nice and taut. Make sure that everything is smooth down here, that there's no lumps or bumps. You're going to move this out of the way, and now you can change the foot to the right toe. It'll be a bit easier. Or you could just swivel it over to the right side if that's the kind of thing of presser foot that you have. Okay? So now on the big flap, you're going to start from the top, and you're going to do 2 rows of stitching, 1 close to the teeth, back tack, and 1 close to the edge. Back tack. That is step 5. Okay. Now before I do the decorative stitching, I'm actually going to go and give this a nice press, just to make sure that everything stays nice and flat. So that zipper is not going to move. You have 2 rows of stitching here, so you see I did not catch the fabric. 2 rows of stitching here. You have several rows of stitching on the other side, and now comes the decorative stitching on the outside. But like I said, I'm going to go and press first. Yeah, the final step is the decorative stitching, and it's done on the outside without catching the shield or anything on the inside at this point. So you're just going to draw this in. Now remember that little gap right here that I told you to leave? There's a little gap right there in the stitching where that dot was. I want you to go to the bottom of that gap. Now the big flap's on this side, perfect. To the bottom of that flap, and I want you to draw just a nice little circle down here, curved stitching line, and then try and get it even all the way up. Now remember, this is only a practice piece, so you know, if you do make a mistake, that's okay. Now I'm going to put my regular presser foot on, my straight stitch foot. Okay, turn the machine back on. Now, better to err on the side of caution and just pin that back. That's the only time that I would say pin. Just one little pin. Pin that back. Turn it over. Now, you can start from here and work your way up, or start from the top, work your way down, whichever you're most comfortable with will work. There's no right or wrong here. Okay, so I'm going to start from the top, right on that nice blue line. But I'm making sure that I have the flap caught. That's the whole point. It's decorative, but it also serves a purpose. So you're going to back tack. Watch that you don't catch the shield. And I'm going to back tack at the bottom there. And I'm going to cut the thread. Now there's a reason why I didn't go all the way. I stopped there. I stopped short of the seam because now I want to catch. I actually want to catch that in there so that way it gets tacked down. I'm going to do my little triangle here to reinforce the bottom end of this fly. So I'm just going to continue on. And then go up a couple of stitches and then go back down 3, 1, 2, and 3. There. Now, when this is with matching thread, it looks much, much nicer, but you can see how there is no bulk whatsoever here. Now, the last step is to, you've got that tack down here, you can tack it over here, that way it won't move on you. So we're just going to do a little, you can do a bar tack if you like. I wouldn't recommend it, but just a little stitch. Just like that, and that way it stays secure. The very last thing you do, but before you do this, I would recommend doing this whole thing all over again, is you're going to take and you're going to remove that basting. Voila! You've got yourself a very, very nice, very well hidden zipper, front fly zipper. You clean it up and you're good to go. This is what it looks like on the inside. Now I would very strongly recommend that you do these steps all individually and then put them together, so you'll have the 6 steps and a visual 3D reference that you can use for years to come.